Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So game 2 will be getting underway, and it is Dragonborns with the lead currently over Meet Your Makers. And, well, it was a long game.
My word, it was a long game.
I just spoke to the players, and they said, that must have been fun.
Dragonborns had such a massive lead, but they were playing so cautiously because they didn't want to make the mistakes that they made during the split. They didn't want to throw all of the work that they had earned, that they'd worked towards, away with a mistaken play. And you can't blame them, but they should have closed that up quicker.
Well, 100%, I know Xerath is banned.
Banned?
He's banned in this game.
Well, it's a possibility. Well,
there's no possibility. They just told me that he's getting
fair
banned.
enough. Then on that token, Diana would have to be banned from MYM. They'd have to take it away from
because
Yamato
Yamato was stunning on it.
He destroyed Cubon's Kha'Zix. There was just, it was a one-sided battle, and you can see Dragonborns there on your screen right now. They seem pretty focused. There were smiles there from Yamato Cannon, but he had such a phenomenal game from that very, very first game.
That looks to me like Maluno seems to be the man that's calling the picks and bans. He was looking down at the paper. Nobody else. He's the one that's figuring it out.
Well, it's definitely a possibility. He's the, the lead playmaker when it comes to that early game. And what an early game start. Now, Jarvan in the fourth, question is it going to be banned out against Maluno, or will Makatia try to run it? We haven't seen him running it this weekend just yet. The question is whether or not he wants to do that. We are into picks and bans, and wow, these are quick ones.
And there is no Xerath ban. There
we go.
I'm thinking, they pretty much definitely told me this is going to get banned now. Looks Jarvan and Zed taken away by Meet Your Makers. I believe that's the same as before. Actually, no, Jarvan wasn't taken, so they weren't too happy about Maluno's interruptions with that very early kills that he managed to set up there. Thresh being the first pick, Twisted Fate, Zac and Xerath were banned out. And the fact that Kubon has secured that Thresh for Meet Your Makers seems to have made him very happy. We do see, again, looking like maybe a support at least. They could switch it around. Yamato can take it this time.
They definitely can. This is going to play into their favor. Diana is still free. Draven is still free. So is Karthus, in fact. So they may decide to try run the same composition. Or, now that they're on the red side, they may decide that they want to have a different champion pool, a different champion roster. But what did work for them in the previous game was, of course, that Draven. And at the moment, it's looking like they want to change that.
Looks like Varus is going to be the choice. Seem to switch up. Of course, they could have gone for those spinning crazy axes of Draven, but Yamato Cannon looks like it's going to be happy, and that's Hosan's choice. It is going to be, of course, Nautilus. You know, you mentioned it like yesterday or earlier today.
That's how long the game was.
Jarvan, if he's not selected, they tend to go for Nautilus.
Yeah, Nautilus at the moment, and we keep talking about it. He got that very, that minor buff to his early game, and it's just made him so much more viable. But when I think of Nautilus, it's Morden's Nautilus that comes to mind, and just how powerful he was against Alternate. Now, Varus being locked in, Hosan has played him 6 times during the split, and he's only got 1 victory with him and a KDA of 2. So it's not his best carry. It's not quite as aggressive as Draven in those early levels.
Misfortune worked out well for Makler. Well, not so well, but he did when he had chance to play. Correct. He landed the kills. But of course, when you've got a crazy long-haired pole coming at you, bearing in mind the entire Meet Your Makers are Polish, they're well aware of what he's been shouting at them. But when he's coming at you like that, pretty much with support Elise as well coming in, they dived in completely. It is going to be Rumble in the top lane round. Let's see how that works out for Kubon, because frankly, his Kha'Zix was not impressive. So
one of the things that didn't work out for Makler's misfortune in the previous game is there wasn't enough crowd control for that bullet time to lock them down in the early game. Other than Libic's Crescendo, simply nothing got put down. So it didn't work out the best for them. With that Rumble being locked in, it will be a top lane Rumble for Kubon, the first time we've seen it this weekend, and a very quick reply from Dragonborns to lock in that Irelia. So Yamato Cannon may be feeling confident if he wants to go 1v1, or they may even decide to do the lane swaps and send their duo top lane as they are red side.
Looking like Meet Your Makers may take Shen this time. It did, of course, have it. Makata was the Shen jungler, but didn't go too successful for him. Didn't really... I mean, every time he did the Stand United, pretty much the target was dead already.
So, yeah, I really don't want to... I feel like I'm going to be calling Makata out, but I feel like his Stand United's way too late in that game. There was a number of times where you've seen, for example, Kha'Zix picked a fight with Diana and then got blown up, and then the Stand United came in onto Charu's Xerath. Later in the Dragon Pit, Kha'Zix dived into the Baron Pit, and nothing happened for the Stand United, so I'm not too convinced about it. But with Jace being locked in, that will be a mid lane Jace then for Charu.
Yep, this is going to be Charu in the mid lane. Of course, he could take Rumble. They could go for Rumble in the mid lane.
It's definitely a possibility. It's also something we have seen periodically. It's not all that common, but it can work out. If they are going for this Jace in the middle, this is a very aggressive run into your face.
Lord, ladies and gentlemen, it's old school. It's Shushay on Gragas. That's what we like to see. Cosplayed it in Season 1, and that was what he was famous for in the top lane.
Yep, and it's a great champion. I mean, you think back in classic champions, he was the #1 person that brought Gragas to the forefront of competition. Right now, maybe Skara you think of when you think of Gragas from stateside, and I think Voyboy plays him in the top lane as well at the moment, NA. I stand to be corrected on that one, but you know, it's something that it's a very powerful champion, and against the likes of Rumble, Shen, Jace, you can just knock everyone away and, you know, re-engage.
And I believe it was Wild Turtle that played for Legion and played an awesome Gragas, and that's when Skara asked him how he played Gragas. If I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure it was Wild Turtle that was in Legion, that was in the mid lane, still came in as sub.
Interesting.
People of the world, internet world, correct me if I'm wrong, I will see it later. I don't actually see Twitter while I'm in here, unfortunately, because they don't let me have a computer. I have a lovely screen that I'm seeing what you see, so I can tell you that the red Dragonborn of Hosan is ready and waiting to go. Dragonborn's 1-0 up this time on the red side. Hosan giving us a wave. The blue team, of course, meet your makers. See how it's going to work out for them this time around.
So we'll see whether or not they can pick up victories there on that blue side. It has remained mostly even throughout the summer promotion tournament, and this could be the second to last game that we are shoutcasting if Dragonborns can make it 3-0. If, however, MYM even up the series 1-1, there will be 3 games remaining. And if that first game is anything to go by, this is definitely we are in for an epic, that is for sure.
I think we're in for a 5-gamer, just myself. Just personally, I think that's how it's going to work out for them. Meet Your Makers looked very close in that game, and I don't think there's a great deal between themselves and Dragonborns. And as we mentioned before, this is a replay of Warsaw. Meet Your Makers really want to get revenge over the Dragonborns, but Dragonborns so strong. It's going to be Oktoberfest. Shushay on Gragas there. Wait for the music when he backs away. Well, hopefully, Unso, being the German that he is, will be able to keep on top of that.
The Oktoberfest Shushay, you were touching on his cosplay, and it's something I've always felt quite strongly about, because I'm not sure if taking your top off counts as cosplay, but
he had a water bottle and everything.
It was an awesome moment nonetheless, back when you could still play AP Alistair in Season 1, and he used that to such great effect. Right now, though, he will be matching up against Charu on Jason. One thing that will play into Jace's favor, if he's in that hammer form, he can jump to minions with that, you know, his Q and just manage to dash around and away from those barrels. So we'll see how quick Charu's reactions are, and surprise, surprise, he's running teleport.
Surprise, surprise. I'm not going to go. Surprise, surprise, it's Cillaria.
We'll see where...
Everyone in England will know what I mean. Oh, Charu completely got out of position. Oh, the flash used already. The belly rush actually being picked up by Shushay there as his first skill.
So it's a bit interesting that Charu was even there to begin with. He's just out of position. I mean, he was trying to look around, trying to see what was happening, and Dragonborns just managed to encroach around him, surround him, and try to set that one up. So, well played. They forced that flash early, and if Maluno comes around for an early gank, that is definitely prime ganking material right now.
Whew. So it is going to be the Wolves being taken down by Dragonborns, Hosan and Mover. Also, we saw 2 members. It was Makata. He's getting no help, actually. I'll tell a lie. I can see Kubon just glimmering in there on the mini-map. Meanwhile, Hosan are going to take... Actually, they've taken the mini golems away from the golem.
So that's most likely just going to make Maluno's lane a little bit simpler. The death sentence goes out, it doesn't manage to land. The pink war has begun.
Yeah, Nibik is going to get lashing on towards Kubon. Can their aggression work out against them this time? It's going to be Sona. He's got very low hit points, forced the flash already. The ignite was used, and that is certainly Meet Your Makers winning out that aggression.
Yeah, Libik and Makla are saying we had enough of your nonsense with Draven in the previous game, and we do not want you to have a similar situation.
Another pink goes down.
Going very aggressive, very early. So that's a pretty successful pink, picking up 2 wards.
2 pink wards at that as well. We do see Makata on that red buff, and Makla is just keeping Hosan away from the experience and the gold farm here. Keeping him on that turret, both at level 2 though. It's going to be surely Makla hitting level 3 first. You can see those hail of arrows. It's such a horrible spell to go up against.
It's really difficult, and it's one of those things that will help control the lane right now. Cubon and Yamato Cannon going back and forth. And I want to see how Dragonborns play with Muvao and Sona. In the previous game, they really focused down Livic Sona and picked up so many kills. And it's just like action across all the lanes as they're just bashing head-to-head.
I'm interested to see how this one works out. Jace versus Gragas is not really a mid lane we're so used to.
Not at all. It's a mid lane that we don't see often, if ever. And it's just going to be a matter of who can get the damage down. Of course, Charu can get... He's got further range poke, but Shusha is going to have much better burst, especially when he hits level 6. So we'll see if Shusha can get a full combo of the exploding explosive barrel as well as explosive cask and body slam, and he can shred that Debonair Jace down.
You know, I can't actually remember the last time we had a mid-grade Jace in Europe.
Europe, it's been a very long time.
NA scene has it quite a lot.
Yeah, NA's, it's sort of an uncommon pick. It's one that we see you pop up every now and again. And for the time being, I definitely think this might... I don't want to go out and say it's the first Gragas of the LCS split, but I do think it might be, actually.
Well, you don't need to go out on the limb that much. You can check the stats, of course, but it is going to be very even in gold, of course, the first 4 minutes. It was a little bit more aggressive last time around, and it is going to be Meteor Makers trying their best to work their way in towards this one. They do see Cubon overheating there. Flame Spitter continuing running on Yamato Cannon. He was completely dominated by Yamato in the first game. We'll see how it works out for him in this matchup. He has just 3 CS difference between the two. Very much even all across the lane so far. The main difference being so far, Makler is actually starting to build up a bit of an advantage over Husona here.
We'll see if they can keep that pressure up. That is, of course, stemming from that very early fight and that trade of back and forth and the flash being burned from Ruvet. And I am hearing that is actually that this is the third Gragas we've seen. There have been 2 and both of them lost.
Oh dear, that's not good news.
0% win ratio. Now in the middle lane, Charu without his flash. He has been caught out.
Belly rush on towards him, but that's going to be Gragas going down, and maybe that Gragas is not a very good luck charm. Charu is going to get another couple of hits. Oh, and he's going to slide away from this one, Maluna. But Makata came in just at the right time.
Such a great Shadow Dash taunt coming out of Makata's Shen. He pulled all the damage away from Charu and prevented that first blood being given over to Dragonborns, but the fight's not over. They're jumping on him.
The fight is not over, but his Livic is going to go down. The tower will finish him off there. It's absolutely suicidal play. You've got to be kidding me. He's got away.
I cannot believe he managed to get away with that. He's drinking all 3 of his potions. Look at the number there on the bottom left of your screen.
Panic, hit the button.
Spam the numbers, spam them all. And he manages to get enough life back to survive the tower hit and a couple of those ranged minion auto attacks as well. Libic was a very brave boy going behind the tower, but he managed to survive.
Wow, crazy, crazy stuff there. That was ballsy play for sure from Libic, and well, he used to be known as EU #1 troll. That used to actually be his name, I kid you not, Libic. And seems to be living up to it very well there. Charu teleporting in towards that mid lane. He's back in there with that assist that he got early on. Tear of the Goddess now stacked up on him. We do see the ping of damage, and I didn't see who the hell it was on. I think it was maybe Makler down the bottom.
I think that was the caution ping, actually. It was a slightly different sound effect.
Yes, it is. You're right.
So that was the alt mouse button up and just saying caution, caution. But right now, MYM farming up that CS advantage that Hosan was falling behind. He's balanced it out right now. They are bang on even, and that was primarily because Libic left the lane. He left his AD carry alone, and it allowed Hosan and Muvao to play a little bit more aggressively during that passage of play. And outside of that first blood, things are very, very even, but Maluna is farming very well. He's got a 15 CS lead over Shen, because Shen is a pretty slow clear time in the jungle.
So which one of these teams is going to be partying the night away? Which one is going to be going home with tears in their eyes? Meteor Makers, they're trailing right now against Dragonborns. Can they surely go down? They don't want to go down against the Dragonborns. They need to extract revenge. The Dragonborns, though, are looking so good. It took them a long time, though, to close out the last game, and they had a big advantage that time around. There's going to be the explosive cast on towards Charu. He didn't really send him the direction he wanted. And in actual fact, Shusha took more damage from that explosive, that acceleration gate shock blast combo than he applied onto Charu with his ulti. It's about a 1.5 minute cooldown for Gragas. So again, it's not the end of the world to throw that out, but it will, of course, mean that it's not available for the next time he tries to set up another fight. Right now, Charu just using that combo of his to farm out the wave and keep Shusha on the back foot underneath his own tower. Yeah, keeping that CS advantage. He's going to go across and get that blue buff. He's going to have the help from Makata. Shusha, of course, will be doing similar. Sharo actually starting it off himself. He's not busy waiting around for Makata to come and help out. Does look like Meteor Makers may well try and intervene, possibly towards the blue buff of Dragonborns. We'll see whether they do or not. ping's currently going out. And we see Maluno with the red buff, looking like he might try and think of Dragon here.
So the Dragonborns in the previous game had a really good initial Dragon. They were able to pick that up fairly early on and maintain control of it, in that early stages, and then, later on. Now we see in the top lane there's a kill, and on the bottom lane there's a fight.
Yamada Cannon does take down Kubon. Livic's in trouble as well. That's going to be the Nautilus ultimate poking on towards him. Hosan picks up the kill. Now they're going aggressive on towards Makler. And just like that, top and bottom, it's 2 kills for Dragonborns.
And it's another situation where we see the Dragonborns winning out their lanes individually in that top lane there. Yamato Cannon is outplaying Kubon. He's got a big CS lead. He did it in the previous game. He's doing it in this game. Maluno shows his face, successfully sets up a gank, and the first kill for the AD carries does go to Hosan.
He's smashing him in that top lane. It's a 25 CS difference right now. The fact that he's got that kill advantage, that is just going to snowball hard, that top lane. That's trouble for Meet Your Makers there. Kubon, I'm not sure, maybe they want to switch him to a 2v1 in future because it doesn't seem to be working 1v1 against Yamada Cannon.
No, and of course, Irelia is a champion that's going to be able to negate that movement speed slow of the Electro Harpoon, and that thanks to her passive, and that will, of course, play against Kubon's favor. He's going to get stunned up, take a lot of auto attacks, and any poke that he puts down will just be regenerated via the ultimate from Yamato as well as the Heat style.
The piercing arrow doing damage to Makler there. Starting to get pressured on here. They did surpass that hook, not even remotely close to Mubed. Gunir very close. He does pull in. Makata, though, gets that Shadow Dash flash on towards him. It looks like Mubed might get taken down here. Hosan is going to come across the side. That's going to be a crescendo. It may well be Makler that goes down. Hosan's going to go aggressive. It's Makata that picks up the kill. Pull it time coming across. Makata, is he going to Shadow Dash in towards the turret? The hook comes out. That doesn't land. They have the minions there, but they're not going to be able to follow this one up. They got Debonair Jace coming around the side. There's going to be the shock blast. Now he knows he's in trouble. He's going to use the barrier. Can he get the kill on Livic? The turret's going to come in. He will. He turns it around for a 4-on-1. He still gets a kill. Beautiful.
Unbelievably well done. Mubed gets a 3-man crescendo to survive that much longer and buy time for Hosan to continually auto-attack, to continually deal damage. And with the MYM team diving him under the turret, Livic just hung around too long. He missed his play. He missed his death sentence, and that is why he went down. He didn't lock his opponent down, and it cost him his life.
Fantastic stuff. Dragonborns, though, they are pushing on towards the middle turret. They may be able to get this one down. You can see that giant... I mean, if you just look at the size of that anchor, you think that turret would have no chance.
Well, not right now, and it doesn't look like it does. They've got it down to 200-odd health. It is about to get sunk in this middle lane. And Maluno's Nautilus picking up the first tower of the game for the Dragonborns.
So, Shushe is going to back off, have himself a drink, and party on into the night. Well, he certainly will do if they do manage to pick up the win here. He's got his wolf waiting upstairs, ready to greet him. He's making some noises. He's not happy about Shushe not being with him.
No, not at all. I managed to just bump into the two of them in the top, in the passageway. And that dog was jumping, well, that wolf was jumping all over the place. Very excited to see Shushe between games. Almost as if he knew that he won the game. Right now, though, Maluno, once again, he's moving towards this bottom lane. He's picked up that early cloth armor, and he hasn't got the boots mobility yet. He's about to catch Livic, and there's the ulti.
Oh, Chain of Corruption lands beautifully along with that anchor. There's going to be Stan United coming out from Makata, though. Is it going to be early enough? He does get taken down. Hosan picks up that kill, and now he's doing a straight 1v1. Can he get down Makler this time around? No, he cannot. And that is going to be a 1-for-1.
So good counterplay, but look at what they needed to throw at that. A teleport and a stand united. Shushe's been left to his own devices. Drunken Rage up and bashing away on the mid-inner turret.
Well, you got to give it to a German Pole being Drunken Rage in that turret. You never know what's going to happen when you let them loose on the alcohol.
No, not at all, but you do know that there'll be lots of damage. Right now, though, we can see that their bottom lane turret has been balanced out, so MYM, they secure their first global objective of the game. They are tied on kills, they are tied on towers, and they are tied on gold. But Yamato Cannon, we haven't seen much of him in this top lane. He has been ruffle stomping Kubon.
Yeah, he's got a 47 CS advantage right now over Kubon. Absolute decimation right now. He's going to try and clear out that wave, but he takes a couple of steps forward. He is going to die to the hands of Yamato Cannon. Look at the gold advantage he has over him. 1,100 gold already stacked up just in that top lane. The domination from them. We do see, though, a nearly 1,000 gold difference, and it is for Jace. Look at that explosive cast. Splits all three of them in separate directions.
Absolutely
Perfect.
great play, because what that did is it bounced Libic, and there's the fight.
Oh, you did mention the Yamato cannon is absolutely dominating Kuban, forces him away, the ignite ticking. Kuban can't do a damn thing in his top lane.
No, can't do diddly squat, I believe was the term. And in that middle lane, the reason that Shushay got to safety is because Libic was knocked to the right. Everyone was split up like a trifecta, and even if the death sentence had landed, it wouldn't have pulled him towards anyone, so it simply didn't work off. All the damage that Yamato Cannon took, he's pretty much regenerated thanks to his potions, thanks to the Bilgewater Cutlass, and sadly we don't hear the music. We hear the claps though.
Oh, we don't get the umpire. I don't think we were there quick enough, maybe. But
maybe not. We'll catch it next time, I'm sure. Oktoberfest Kragas with some awesome killer recall tracks.
Yeah, killer recall tracks. Yamato Cannon clearing out that top wave, continuing his advantage. He's now built up a 50 CS, and you can see straight away Charu's gone, right, fine, okay, I'll have to deal with him.
Now, something that Mokata is definitely going to need to do is try to spend a little bit more time up here in this top lane, trying to shut down Yamato Cannon, because a fed/farmed Irelia is one of the most terrifying champions in the game. The fact that she's got practically the built-in tenacity and ignores crowd control is terrifying enough. Now the Dragonborns has started off the Dragon. Makla has bullet time available, and we do see Chain of Corruptions up. He started to channel, and Makla's been caught.
He does manage to get his full bullet time out, but he's actually across Dragonborns, trying to see if he can interrupt them. And he does slow them down for a short period, but you can see Dragonborns lock it in. But now you can see Makla. Mokata dives in. They're all taking very low Dragonborns here. They do get one. Can they get a second? Mubet's going to go down. Hosan gets targeted. He is going to go down as well. That's a 3-for-0 trade. And Meteor Maker's going to turn and push on this mid turret.
That was a fantastic team fight there for MYM, managing to lock up the entire team with that 4-man taunt coming out of Makate. Perfectly well placed. Now, the rest of MYM, they've stacked up in this middle lane, and the Shock Blast were raining damage the entire time. They should be able to pick that turret up, and Charu wants blood. Can he get the shot onto Shusha? He can! It's not enough!
Not quite enough. Trevor jumping up and down for that one. He was quite excited, but he didn't quite manage to land it. It is going to be the middle turret going down, and, well, Meteor Makers, they actually started to develop a gold lead here, despite the fact that it was Dragonborns that were leading just before that fight, and now, just after one simple dragon fight, the fact that he even got it, we're seeing him dancing, but we're not hearing the music. This is disappointing.
It is disappointing indeed. We will definitely have to get that killer recoil track.
You know what it means? It just means the people at home are going to have to buy the skin.
Yeah, you know, that's it. Just great marketing pitch. Great marketing pitch from D-Man. Right now, though, Dragonborn's falling ever so slightly behind. It is only 1,000 gold right now. It is anybody's game. It is, of course, compliments of that tower that's gone down and is now working their way. But look at this top lane. Blade of the Ruined King completed for Yamato Cannon. His lane opponent, a mere Haunting Guise and Sorcerer Shoes. 60
CS built up over him now. That's just been a straight fight. There's actually not really been any help from the junglers up there. That is straight up 1v1 skill, and Yamato Cannon once again outplaying Kuban for the second game running.
So there's something that you always ask whenever we talk about this, whenever a player or somebody is falling behind, is, do you leave them on an island? Do you pretty much say,
yes,
look, your ship has been sunk and you need to deal with this on your own? Join us later, and hopefully you've developed some swimming muscles to try and help us out. And that pretty much seems what happens. Look at this damage onto Kuban.
On the turret, he's going to use the equalizer to try and survive. And Yamato Cannon, untouched there, still has a minion and wave, and he just walks away thinking, well, that was easy.
He didn't even use Ignite. He didn't even use Ignite. That was straight up Blade Surge into Equilibrium Strike.
He's running around in circles.
Once the stun or the slow was going out, he put the Blade of the Ruined King down and just bashed away on the head of Kuban. That was fantastic play, and I tell you what, if Yamato Cannon keeps this level of play up, Kuban is not going to win. Now Charu's picked the battle.
Charu teleports in there, but Maluno's now coming in, and you can see Stan United is going to come out from Makata. He tries to get away, but the Blade Searcher from Yamato Cannon closes him down, and now Yamato Cannon stuns up Makata, and he's just going to walk away from this one without any problems. He is absolutely dominating. They had to deal with him, and now they've really got a problem on their hands.
The coordination and the control from Dragonborns was sublime there. You see Maluno tanking the turret up. Yamato's like, I got this. I will stun him with Equilibrium Strike. Hold the turret aggro for me, bro. I want to just saunter away. And that's exactly what they did. They picked themselves up another kill into Charu, teleport wasted, and stand United down. The same thing happened the last time they stacked those abilities. They're just trading, and right now, MYM make a good play, Dragonborns make a good play. MYM make a good play, Dragonborns make a good play. It's like a good game of tennis.
Well, you've got to give credit to Makata. He is 3-0-4 this time around, so at least he's got himself involved. And the gold, though, It was a lead for Meet Your Makers, but you can see it's just 100 gold split in between them. But look at that. 2,400 gold. Despite the fact it's even there, 2,400 gold difference from Yamato Cannon to Kubon. He can kill anyone in the game right now.
That's actually very scary because of how far everybody else is behind. You see the jungle of Shen there, a good 1,300 ahead. Now 7 to 6 up. And of course,
this is an important factor. Yamato Cannon is very rarely involved in Dragonborn's fights.
As always, but in the previous game, it didn't work out too bad for them because he was able to draw members towards him while the rest of Dragonborn's picked up Baron buff, picked up objective push, picked up maps. So if Yamato's able to, work around to the team, it's definitely going to work in their favor. But it's just a matter of actually calling him in there at the right time.
Infinity Edge being built up, or Bloodthirst. I'm not too sure which one Hosam wants to go for. Bloodthirst has been completed by Makler as long as those Berserker Greaves for both AD carries. And what is Kubon going to do? He's on this island, and he's been deserted, frankly. He did get a little bit of help from Makato, and he's just like, nope, you're on your own, son, now. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah,
Charu as well, thinking, look, buddy, I tried to move up there with the teleport, and all it did is cost me my life. Why you feed Aurelia, bro? So, a little bit of discussion between them. Now, Rumble, of course, will bring an impact in team fights, and he'll offer a little bit more in terms of AoE and in terms of splash. But outside of that, he's pretty much going to be singled out and shut down by Yamato Cannon in fights. And I worry for Makler's safety as well in these team fights if Yamato does decide to, play with everyone.
Well, Tribush wards both in there. Pink ward down from the Dragonborns, but it is going to be Meet Your Makers that are slowly shoving that lane along the bottom. Sharu's clearing out the Wolves. He's kept ahead in CS over Shushe's Gragas. 2-1-4 currently versus a 0-1-0. This is the main thing, actually. If you look at the gold and you look how close it is, really it's because of all that assist gold that's spread across, as well as those kills that Meet Your Makers got, whereas Dragonborns, the kills are all kind of stacked up on just 2 people. Yeah,
it's very interesting to actually note just how many kills have been shared between MYM, but it's because of the teleport, it's because of the Stand United. When kills happen, MYM pretty much all in and throw their champions into the lane, and it's backfired a couple of times, but it also means that they do have that additional gold. Now, Levick is going to catch Movert. He's in trouble.
He is in all sorts of trouble. There's going to be the Chain of Corruption now, and the ultimate coming straight out. Misfortune. Blitz in there, but Explosive Cask is going to melt Libic, and Meet Your Makers back out. It's just 2 supports going down.
So they trade support for support, but I definitely think MYM will be relatively happy about that one. They made the play. They started it, and they shut Movert down. Even though Movert got off a fairly good crescendo there as he was about to be popped, the rest of Dragonborns are able to at least avenge his death. So 8 to 7, and again, it's just one team makes a play, the other immediately counters. With Dragon respawning, the question is who is going to have better positioning for this one?
Yeah, they are looking to try and make a play. Of course, the fact that the box will be down for Libic, so that's going to cause problems, but Crescendo also down. So both supports, important ultimates, are down right now. Jace is actually going to get chased out. Here's Sharu, looking at maybe hammering away Maluno on Nautilus, causing some serious issues once again, Maluno, from that jungle. And we do see that pink ward. Does give them vision. Charu, if he backs away there, he's in full vision, and Dragonborns almost certainly will start off. Piercing arrow being fired out and not finding its target on Sharu. Dragon is going to get started off. Shushe taking that shock blast straight to the face.
Now, with the Last Whisper completed from Charu, it will be hitting hard. Even though Shushe has that Zonya's Hourglass, he has that armor, it is, of course, hitting particularly hard. And wait, there's the Explosive Clask. Wow. It doesn't bounce anyone towards the rest of his team, and that's what they were hoping for. Libic's death sentence went way wild, but they had no vision of that, really, so it was going to be just a blind hook.
Just flying out the hooks. He could have a ward there, actually. But there was only one person he could aim at, and then it was a big, fat, round target. So I'm not sure if I could give him the benefit of the doubt there or not. Nevertheless, it is going to be Yamato Cannon now pushing that mid lane turret, and he's going to keep on pushing him towards the inner turret. What are they going to do with this guy? He's causing so many issues, and now that he's actually joined the team for the fight, I fear for the Meet Your Makers.
Yeah, there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to shut him down. Even if they try to focus him, they don't have a traditional bursty mage, so they're going to be relying on poke. Now, MYM are trying to move in here to set up the fight. Equalizer is available. Dragon is down very, very low. Keep a close eye on Yamato Cannon's positions. He'll join late. Nautilus picks it up, and here comes Yamato Cannon.
Yeah, Mark, yep, he has managed to catch out. Equalizer actually doing a very good job there. Chain of Corruption coming across. Maluna getting taken down. Yamato Cannon's gone deep, a little too deep. He can't 5v1 just yet. Oh, great Shadow Dash flash there, and it's going to be Hosan getting locked up. Has to use that barrier, because Shushe is also taken very, very low. Shock Blast comes out there, use the explosive cast to get away. Makla's now coming across the side. It's going to be the Zonia's Hourglass from Shushe. That was maybe a mistake there, but he does try and bait them into it, and that is actually just going to be a 1-for-0. Maluno, the only one down, but Meteor Makers proved to themselves that they can take Dragonborns down in a fight.
So importantly, Dragonborns picked up the Dragon during that, so they've extended their gold lead. But what you did notice is a great equalizer with bullet time on top of it. Makla's bullet times have been fantastic. In Game 1 and now in Game 2, it's hitting every single member of Dragonborns, and with all the damage of equalizer and bullet time, a single accelerated shock blast was enough to pick up that kill onto Maluno. And of course, Yamato, maybe feeling a little overconfident. He dove in there, took a damage from 4 MYM members and went, actually, no, I'm not that tanky yet.
We did also see the flash Shadow Dash from Mercato. He did actually catch 3 members out there. It was very well played for him. Libic's going to get hooked in. Is he going to turn the hook around? Or is he in sorts of trouble? Has to flash away. Piercing Arrow comes in, takes him very, very low. Not enough to kill him, though.
The shield from his Dark Passage Lantern was enough to save him in that particular engagement. We see Ionian Boots of Lucidity picked up for Charu. He needs the cooldown, or he's gone for the CDR boots. He really wants to spam out as many Shock Blasts as combo. And Equalizer goes down again, this time from Kubot. MYM were thinking about a fight, but decided just happy defending their turrets.
Yeah, the top turret, though, is being pressured. Mercato's on the split push, and he's going to keep the pressure down on that top lane. This is still a very, very tight game. Just 1,000 gold between them, 9-7 in kills, and it's going to be Meteor Makers putting the pressure down. They're going to take their 3rd turret of the game, and that will be all of the outer turrets now down.
It was exactly at this point in the previous game where things slowed down so significantly. Dragonborns held that lead, and they weren't exactly sure how to push. This time around, MYM are much closer in terms of gold, much closer in terms of presence on the map. And you can see that Mercato is actually able to split push. His Shen in the last game, to be fair, was unable to do that. And that does bode well for Meteor Makers.
But just look at the difference. Kubon is falling so far behind Yamato Cannon. He is going to be a split-pushing monster. He's got that Randian's Omen now completed along with the Blade of the Rune King, whereas Kubon just got that Lysandras finally completed. Again, we're not getting it. We're not getting it, Unso. You're not giving us any love. I think whether you have to be on it first, I don't know. But Shushe, unfortunately, we're not going to get the music.
No, I don't think we will be. So at the moment, though, Yamato Cannon, he does have a 2-level advantage over Kubon. Not only is he just so incredibly well farmed, he's going to be the first level 18 in the game. That is a guarantee. However, the rest of MYM's levels are actually above Dragonborn's right now. Mercato's Shen, a level ahead. MYM's Charu, 2 levels ahead of Shushe. Makla is tied with Hosan. It was 1 level, and of course now the support sitting tied. But, you know, overall, it's one team being weaker in one lane, but being stronger in every other, and that's what's balancing this out.
Sorry, Unso. We're never going to get the music. It's just dawned on me I'm dumb. It's actually only ever going to be on the client. You're never going to see it in Spectator.
Oh,
it doesn't broadcast the music to everyone else. It's not a Cho'Gath. It's not Battlecast Cho'Gath.
It's only to the player. Only to the player. So that is disappointing. Right,
we can make our own music if you like, but...
banana.
Now everybody at home knows what the chant we make to that music. Thankfully, it may well be changing for the summer split. We can only hope, ladies and gentlemen. Meteor Makers 9-7 right now, 1,000 gold behind the Dragonborns. They are pushing through. It's 3-2 in terms of turrets, and Dragonborns looking to trade down their first inner turret. The hook on Yamato Cannon. Is it the right person? The box comes out. Stand United on towards Libic. Libic does get taken down. Crescendo now comes out, but you do see Makla picking up a kill. That was going to be Mover going down, but look at the damage on towards Meteor Makers. They can't stand in this fight, and the fact that Stand United was cancelled because Libic died already means that you can see Mercato, he wasn't even involved in that fight because he's going to try and come on. He may get on Shushe, he's coming around the backside, but look at Yamato Cannon, Blade surging straight in there, takes down Makla, Kubon taken low, and now they're going to push in there. He's going to come around the side, Teleport coming out, this is going to be Sharu, they're going to get on towards Maluna, Maluna seems to be the target, the hammer comes down, and now Mercato, he's going to turn and run. Can he close down either Hosan or Yamato Cannon? Shock Blast comes out, not going to land, it's going to be Hosan, he can Shadow Dash across the Baron pit. Will it be enough to close him down though? He goes across, flashes, catches him, and a Shock Blast from downtown by Charu. Boom, headshot.
Charu channeling AC/DC, screaming, "You've been thunderstruck!" Landing down that hammer form, picking up the first kill onto Maluno, and a great sequence of events to bounce back and balance it out. They save the tower, they pick up some exit kills, but even with a 3-kill advantage, they are still 200 gold behind. This game is as even as it is going to be.
He's one of the few mid laners that makes use of that teleport in absolute expert fashion, and the communication between Makato and Charu seems to be working wonders. 6-1-5 right now for Charu, 3-0-7 for Makato. They've been helping each other out every step of the way for all of those kills for Meteor Makers, really trying to keep the things flowing, keep the game flowing. But we saw Dragonborns again, Yamato Cannon. He was a serious presence at the start of that fight.
Now, I'd like to see how it pans out, because I was wondering how effective is a teleport on Jace. And like you said, Charu, he's one of the few that makes it work no matter who he runs, and the chase factor that they have. Oh, they've caught out Yamato.
They've caught out Yamato, and they don't want him. They threw him back. We flayed him back as soon as they hooked him in. We don't want you. Get back.
No, especially not with that Randian's Omen. He's going to be able to just reduce all of that movement speed of his opponents, and of course, the armor going to be helping out against Charu's poke. But you see those Shark Blasts still hitting relatively hard there when they do connect. Dragon has respawned, and once again, the Dragon Dance begins. This is a 5 versus 5. There is no stand united for Makate. The longer they can draw this out, the better their chance they have. They might just try steal.
He's going to try and dash in. He's not going to get it. Now he's going to get locked up there. Yamato kind of dives on towards Makler. He's in trouble. He's going to back away. Crescendo comes across, catches 3 members of Meteor Makers. That's going to be Chain of Corruption. And Meteor Makers are going to melt in this fight. This is brilliantly initiated by Dragonborns. It's going to be Limit going down. That's a 2 for 0. And the Dragon. Kubon gets away with absolutely nothing. And Dragonborns, wow, what a great crescendo from Mover.
Meteor Makers, Makla was simply too far forward. He got jumped on by Yamato Cannon and by the rest of Dragonborns. He started to channel a deathly bullet time, and it simply didn't do anything. Finally, after 10 minutes of siege, Dragonborns secure the inner mid turret after yet another dragon and decide to back away. This is the first significant gold lead in a very long time. 3,000 gold in their back pockets, and you wondered, what's Yamato Cannon going to do in team fights? And he's going to win them.
He's going to win them. That's what he does. He dived all over Macklin, like you mentioned. In fact, he got too close to them. Kubon, I'll tell you what, where are you going, Makato? You are very deep here. There is an AD and an AP carry nearby that could easily melt down Makato, but it would be too much energy, I think, to chase him down. Shens are very tricky, slippery little buggers to pin down, and unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. And Shushay dances and prances and heads back to base.
Right now, we do see that Hosan is trying his best to farm up in this top lane. Item-wise is bang on even with his counterpart, with the exception of that single long sword sitting there. You can imagine that Makla will be working towards a Black Cleaver as his next big item pickup. Crucially, the Muramana has been completed for Charu, and he's getting fairly close to completing off that Bloodthirster, and that's really when all of that poke will begin to pay even more dividends.
We do see the farming from Makla trying to keep up with Hosan. Hosan's piercing arrows, I've noticed, have actually started to really hurt a number of members of Meteor Makers, and he's landing them with great efficiency as well. Shushay going to be pushing down this bottom lane. He's going to throw out those barrels and roll back to base. Makla will reply in kind and clear it out. That may actually keep Shushay. Is he going to prevent backing off? No, he doesn't feel he can take him just yet.
Yeah, decides he wants to back off. He still hasn't finished any major AP items. He does have that Zonya's Hourglass. He's been sitting on that needlessly large rod, as well as the blasting one for a little while, as well as the Fiendish Codex. So I'd like to see what he does decide to upgrade as his first sort of big AP item. And there is my answer. He's got himself a nice fancy hat.
A fancy hat. Maybe we're going to see him cosplaying the fancy hat. What do you do with the Zonya's Hourglass? Do you have like an hourglass, time glass? You could do that. You could get that going.
That's for sure. He's got a pretty cool dragon's hat, but I don't think it's got the same power as a Rabadon does right now, though. Dragonborns, they've managed to find out Makata, and a great Shadow Dash taunt to safety. Close
stuff there. Maluno's going to keep the pressure on, though. There's going to be the ultimates. Libic they're going to focus on. He manages to pull the team away. Is he going to use the ultimate? Yes, he is, and that's going to be a great bullet time coming out there. Didn't really land too much, so you can see the corruption coming out. There's going to be a great Shadow Dash, but the rest of the team are not really with him. They're focusing there. Macharu goes in, but he gets Crescendo. That's going to interrupt him. Here comes the Flame Spinner of Kubon. Can he clear up? No, because once again, Yamato Cannon causing so many problems. Doesn't get taken down once again. And Dragonborns are going to push through and take the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, they should be able to take the inhibitor as well. That was a 1-for-3 trade, only losing Maluno because he ate a lot of that bullet time damage. And if Makla had delayed by 5 seconds, he could have spread it across the entire team when they were grouped up on top of that equalizer. Unfortunately, it was not to be. And of course, the Dragonborns are just going to decide to back away, not willing to risk a damage against a Rumble and a Misfortune combo.
Well, Yamato Cannon now is 7-0-4. He is an unstoppable beast. He's been dominating that top lane. And for the next game, I feel that Meteor Makers may well lose this one. They're going to have to do something to deal with Yamato Cannon. They have to focus him. They can't allow him to run away with the games like this.
Makata needs to pick a better early game ganking champion and actually help Cubon out. Cubon has lost 1v1 against Yamato Cannon 2 games in a row with 2 different champions, and that is just a straight up being outplayed, outskilled at the moment. If he picks a more gank heavy champion, he can roam there, he can sit in that top lane and actually help his fellow teammate out, and then give him an opportunity to win his own lane. Right now though, that massive difference is just, it's making Yamato terrifying.
It is making him very much terrifying. Shusei picking up that blue buff. The explosive casts are going to be coming quicker and faster. He has hit 6 now, so that's going to be up to a level 3 ultimate. Meanwhile, Meteor Makers, they don't feel they're out of this one just yet. 6,000 gold behind, 5-3 down in turrets, but they still feel they may be able to match them in a team fight, and I'm not sure they can.
And as predicted, level 18 first for Yamato Cannon, the earliest by a long way, 3 levels ahead of his direct opposite number, and a full level and a half ahead of Charu's Jace. So really good play. Not only has he got that massive gold lead in item we talked about in the previous game, the stats that you get just from leveling up, they do add up if you break them all down. And it's definitely playing into his favor. The rest of MYM, they're keeping up, and we're starting to approach that max level stage right now. Makate almost at 16, so Stand United about to hit his max rank as a 5-man Dragonborn are sieging this inhibitor turret.
Dragonborn's pushing in. This is going to be the first inhibitor going down of the game for Dragonborns. He will take this one out. You do see the hook coming in, and you do not want that Yamato Cannon. That will be an inhibitor. No problem whatsoever for the Dragonborns there. And Meteor Makers are looking like they're trying to flex their muscle, like they're pushing out. It's almost like a case of a little kid when the guys just got out of earshot. It's like, yeah, I thought so. I thought so. You're going to back off. You're going to leave us alone.
Well, it's one of those things that we talked about. We were discussing Blitzcrank and Thresh and the different ways you can play around them, and saying how if you see those types of champions, you can pick a champion into it and say, well, I want to get hooked. MYM are way out of position. Here come Dragonborns from behind. Depth charge is available. Who is the landmine going to hit? Because the dredge line did not connect Livic. The box is available. Will it go down? Has
to use the box to be defensive, but Dragonborns, they can just turn and run straight towards Meteor Maker's base here. They're completely out of position, but they want the dragon, it seems. And they are not going to allow them to have it.
Well, they decided to swap sides because they're on opposite team sides. Maluno is still leading the charge with that Aegis of the Legion and that insanely great movement speed. He's going to start the Drake up, and MYM will be coming in from behind. There is no box from Libic. Keep that in mind. That's a massive poke from Hosan's piercing arrows. You talked about how they're landing, and they're just so impactful.
There's going to be the Rumble ultimate. It's not going to equalize a great deal, and Maluno is going to continue on the Dragon, but Shusei does manage to pop down Libic. There's the crescendo. Kubon's going to get caught out. Shusei uses on his hourglass. There's going to be a good bullet time coming out there. Maluno does go down. Shusei also drops. He tries to take more with him, but unfortunately for him, it is going to be the Dragonborns that once again clean up. They're actually split sides right now. Makler and Makata running towards the blue buff area, and the Dragonborns, they're just going to push on through. They are going to back to base.
So 3 for 2 in that particular engagement. Dragonborns still not able to pick up the dragon, so that may be yet another fight on the board. There's a very big creep wave up in the top lane, which Yamato Cannon is going to run right over to and make sure he picks it up. Hosan will be stealing away the enemy blue buff and securing that for himself. So Dragonborns again with a good fight, but it was fairly sloppy because Makla proving that his bullet times can be so well placed and so well timed.
Yeah, and considering he was in amongst a giant creep fight and everybody was all over the place, Yamato Cannon jumping all over his face. 8-0-5 by the way, Yamato Cannon right now, might add. He did still manage to land the damage in the right place at the right time. He picked up a couple of kills. So, Meteor Makers once again, they're coming out of these fights with kills, but unfortunately for them, they still can't deal with that man on your screen. Yamato Cannon, he is a thorn in their side right now.
He's more than a thorn, he's a poison ivy bush in their side. Non-stop pressure over and over and over, consistently and constantly running into the Meteor Makers lineup and completely taking control of it. So, very well played to them. And now we'll see how this next dragon fight breaks out. The previous one was somewhat sloppy from both teams. But Makla's Black Cleaver-powered bullet time was able to help them pick up a couple of extra frags.
Lingering around the side there, Yamato Cannon looking at trying to get some poke on towards the Meteor Makers. May well gets boxed in once again here by Dragonborns, trying to create their positions, but honestly, I don't think they're in a position to fight for this anymore. They're 6,000 gold behind. They still feel it's close because it's 17-15 in kills, so they're going to feel that it is fairly close, and they are picking up the kills in the fights, but it is going to be another dragon for the Dragonborns.
So it's one of these situations where even though MYM actually do have a pretty good team fight when you combine all of their abilities together, the fact that Gragas can displace them is so powerful. Makla with Strut is going to need to start running away so incredibly quickly because Yamato Cannon, he will dive this along with Gragas.
Blade Surge comes in, there's the stun, the explosive cast missing actually. A little bit ahead of yourself there, Shushi. Wanted to try to secure it, expecting the flash to come out, but Makla just get taken down, and it's Yamato Cannon once again that picks up that kill.
So once again, Yamato Cannon showing just how strong and how powerful he is. We talked about how he tends to split push with his team. He has not done that in 20 minutes because his team has called for him and said, we need you. You are the hero we need. You are the hero we deserve, and he's playing it right now. In terms of these team fights, Meteor Makers can't sit together because of that explosive cast. They have caught out Hosan, but they're not going to go in.
Explosive cast goes, and it's going to be Maluna that jumps away from that one. Chain of Corruption not quite landing. Crescendo whiffing for the first time here. Meteor Makers, well, if only they had their AD carry, could have followed that one up.
Makata was able to flash away from that Crescendo, and that was why they couldn't stick onto him and pick up the kills. And remember that they used a fair amount of their abilities on that kill on Makla, so they couldn't knock anybody else out of position or out of control. So 8,000 gold lead. Dragonborns looking like they want to go 2-0 up in this series, and Frank, very many people did not expect that result.
No, they certainly didn't. Kumon's trying to farm out, trying to keep up, but you can see he's over 100 CS behind right now on Yamato Cannon. Trinity Force being complete, and look at the goal difference. Good God, it's over 5,000 for Yamato Cannon over Kubon. That is simply put not going to work out too well for Dragonborns.
Golly, Miss Molly, that is huge. That massive amount of gold is just equating to survivability in these team fights because he's got the Blade of the Ruin King, the Trinity Force, Randy and Zoman, and he's even picked up the Chain Vest, so we'll most likely see a Guardian Angel being completed within the next few minutes. Dragonborns right now are looking more focused than they ever have, even though their team fights have been sloppy. I am going to call them out in that regard because they're trading kills evenly, even though they're making the plays happen. So they started off Baron. Here come MYM. Equalizer is available, but Dragonborns have peeled away, and an instant flash from Cubot.
Libic, he thought about going in. He could have got the box on everyone, throws out the hook. And, well, Dragonborns did peel off away from that Baron. They still know that he's not 100% complete in this matchup. They still have to worry about some of the fighting potential that Meat Makers have.
Dragonborns learning from all the other amateur teams and LCS teams, not sticking in the Baron pit for longer than they need to. And we'll see what they decide to do now with that Oracle Elixir up on Mouvert. They know they've got vision superiority. Going to take a little bit of poke there from Charu. It looks like he's working towards a Blade of the Ruin King himself. Just getting all of that on-hit damage to try and deal with that massive, massive tank that is Yamato Cannon. Dragonborns, they've snuck themselves into this river. That's 5 of them hiding around the corner. They've got vision. What's going to go down, and he's been caught!
Chain of Corruption, he's all on his own. He's going to flash away, and he gets dropped before he can even put that box down. And now we're going to see them try and turn this one around. Maluna's low, actually. A lot of numbers of Dragonborns are pretty low here. Hosan around the side there. They are going to catch on towards Makata. They're focusing on Yamato Cannon. Kubon, though, he's going to get dropped down, and they just can't keep the damage on towards the right target. And you can see Sharu and Makla, they have to back away once again. Makata may well get singled out, but no, Dragonborns are more interested in getting that inhibitor turret in the mid lane.
All of that damage came down from Makla's bullet time. It destroyed the Dragonborn's HP bars. We did see a very well-placed equalizer in which the Dragonborn stood on top of for a very long time, but the problem was when the rest of the team dove in, Makla was playing very defensive. He didn't get any auto attacks down and wasn't able to clean house. Yamato jumped onto Makla and he's just been popped.
Blade Surge comes in as well. Yamato Cannon just locks him up, and that takes him down. You got to feel that's going to be Dragonborn surely closing out the game here. And you've got to think maybe if they focus this hard on this match, they need to do it throughout the rest of the season. They have 10 weeks to do it. Oh, but it's going to be Maluna getting locked up there. Makata thought about it, but surely the Dragonborns are going to go 2-0 here.
The tower is down there. A bottom lane inhibitor exposed. You'll see Dragonborn probably healing up, pushing for Baron, and maybe deciding to try and pick up the win. Truth be told, however, it took them a very long time to close out game number 1. And if they're playing this League of Legends by the numbers, they may decide to play patient and controlled.
Well, why not? Because, you know, this is their lives. This is their jobs on the line here, and they are treating it seriously. Wow, we're going to see... Oh, Sharu's actually going to go in for this one. Hosan is going to get caught out. Barrier used, but just gets melted. They're going to go straight for Baron.
Sharu completely decimated them. Take a look at the positioning for Dragonborns. They are relatively close by. Shushay has his ultimate up, and we have seen Gragas, Q, R combo stealing Barons before. Will they be able to do it this time round? He's going to put some damage down, interrupt the members of Meet Your Makers, and look at Nuva. He's clearing away the
desperation.
vision.
They have to get it here. They have to get it. They're keeping the poke on. Are they going to go in? The barrel comes in. No, he's not going to get it down. It's going to be Meet Your Makers picking up there. Can they turn the damage round? That's going to be a Shadow Dash. They do go to catch on towards it, but here comes Yamato Cannon once again. The Stand United on towards Livik. He's going to lash out. Maluna is going to get caught down here. He does get dropped, and now 5 members, and there's another Flash Shadow Dash. Full on range. The Shock Blast comes in. Movehead taken low. It's going to be Kubon chasing around. Flame Splitter will be enough to take down Movehead, or has he been taken too low? The Harpoon lands. That's the 3-for-0 for Meet Your Makers. Can they get any more advantages?
There are super minions pushing on the Nexus turret. There is a massive wave of minions in the bottom wave. MYM forced to recall and defend their base before they risk losing yet another inhibitor. They get the Baron. They get a few kills off the back of that. And with that goal difference being evened out thanks to the stats of the Baron Nashor buff, they are still in this game. A very, very good team fight for MYM. Allowed them to secure that buff. And, of course, a couple of kills on the way out. And I tell you what, Makate Shen, those flash taunts, he has been taking a page out of Godbro's Shen book, because those are multi-man taunts over and over again.
At max range as well. Max very well played there, and of course, let's not discredit the fact that Sharu, with the teleport, once again making plays for Meet Your Makers. This time Shushay, he's going to try and take down that dragon on his own. Sharu's thinking of maybe coming in there with Libik. He's going to see if he can create any opportunities. They don't have any vision of that dragon. Now they're going to go towards Hosan. Hosan forced to flash away. Chain of Corruption going on towards Makato. He's going to continue chasing on this one. He can't close the gap, though. And it is going to be surely just back off that one. Yes, he will.
He will be able to get to safety, but at the moment, Makate is still chasing. The acceleration gate speed and boost movement speed increase was very good and allowed him to chase for a little while, but luckily, Hosan gets away. But Flash and Chain of the Corruption burn, which means that those abilities are not going to be available if a fight breaks out too.
It was, but it bought time for Shushay just to sneak in there and get that dragon while they chased, everybody chased on towards Hosan. Meet Your Makers, with this Baron buff, they have to make use of it. Otherwise, Dragonborns, they're just going to stand this one out for another 4 minutes and then return to their standard position. 10-0-6 now for Yamato Cannon. And now with that Guardian Angel on, going to be a problem.
Those statistics are insanely good. Out of his team's 21 kills, he's been involved in 16 of them. That is 75% kill participation for his team. And this is from a player who I'm going to be frank, he had zero impact on team fights during the last couple of weeks of the split. He was learning to split push and trying it on the LCS, and he didn't really know when to join his team. My word, this boot camp has been good for Dragonborns, because they were in control of game 1, they're in control of game 2, and even with that last misplay, they still have so much presence on the map thanks to those super minions in the mid lane.
Well, it is going to be Meet Your Makers pushing on through. That Baron Bush is going to have another minute left on it, and really, I think it's more a Baron of opportunity, I guess. You know, the fact that they haven't been able to do a great deal with it, but it has managed to put a pause on the game for them. They're only 5,000 gold behind. The hook's going to get thrown out. It's not going to land in there, and there's no way they can push on towards his turret just yet.
Of the 21 deaths that MYM has suffered in total, 9 of them have been on Libik's Thresh. And to be very honest, he's not been as impactful as we would have liked. Those death sentences not catching the targets that he needs to catch. He's been landing on Yamato Cannon's Irelia so often, and that's the last target that you want to pull in. And we'll see whether or not he can make those plays count. Right now, Meet Your Makers, for the first time in a very long time, they are sieging up. Catching onto Nautilus, again, not who you want to catch, but the wave clear from Dragonborns is just so incredibly good.
That acceleration gate's been working wonders, and it's Makato that's trying to make use of it, trying to catch onto some members of the Dragonborns, but again, the poke Now, and don't forget the siege potential that they have. They have that Sharu. You can see the acceleration gate, the shock blast keep on coming in there. Yamato Cannon, though, is just waiting for his moment to get remotely close to Makler. He will be on him like a flash.
And Yamato Cannon is not exactly the most patient of players. He does like to pick fights, as we've seen. Now, Cubon's been caught out. Is this the go moment? Yes, it is.
There it is. It's Sharu he goes for. Sharu's going to get locked up. Stan United comes out, though. And Yamato Cannon actually taken very low. Chain of Corruption does land across MYM. Maluno now very low. Cubon's going to get focused on, but the bullet time lands. Shushe has to use the Sonya Zalgas, but look at this. They're going to continue chasing. Still remember the Guardian Angel and Yamato Cannon. And another flash out. Everybody splitting, making a run for it. Can they close anyone else down? No, it's just a 2 for 0. And Dragon Balls turn that fight to their advantage once again.
What a fantastic fight there for Dragon Balls. Managing to jump in there, landing that crescendo, focusing down Charu, preventing all of that massive damage that Charu's doing. He's also got the most kills for his team right now. All of a sudden, this is the middle inhibitor going down. Shen, Misfortune, and Thresh going to try to defend against the 3-4 members of Dragon Balls, but Dragon Balls have pushed up into this bottom lane with a very big minion wave.
Yeah, we do see Dragon Balls going in. The hook on Shushe. They're not going to follow it through. In fact, Explosive Cask will get thrown at Livic, and that is the second inhibitor of the game. We now see Maluno on this top turret as well. He's going to slowly work it down, and I mean slowly.
That giant anchor not sinking this turret as quickly as he'd like, but the rest of Dragon Balls are going to group up. There are members of MYM starting to respawn, and Livic has taken so much damage.
He's going to get the piercing arrow coming out towards him, and you can see the minions putting the blasts down there, but Makler will be able to keep that turret defended. We're seeing a teleport coming out here. Look where Sharu's gone.
He wants to play, and he's got a lot of damage. There are fairly low HP bars there on Shushe, but not much else. And Charu, he snuck himself up into the top of the river. Makate is way out of position.
Oh, and they tried to close in and close them down, but I don't understand that play. I mean, they did it before, but Dragon Balls are still all at full hit points. It's not like he was going to catch anyone separate. They were moving as a 5.
Yeah, it was not something that worked out for them. He thought they were going to try rush down Baron, but MYM just not having the exact timer on that one. It looks like still a minute to go before it spawns.
They took the Baron. They should have timer, but
it didn't work out at all.
It really didn't.
No, not at all.
They're going to be able to tank down this inhibitor turret, and I feel they may well push in and actually finish the game here. There's the equalizer, but Crescendo comes across. Bullet time kind of whiffs. Kubon's going to get pulled in. Zonya's hourglass is used, but he's going to drop the moment he comes back out of it. Tries to flash away. Inhibitor turret does go down. Makler now, Dredgeline catches in there. He gets sunk, and then it's going to be the inhibitor going down, and Dragomons will surely close out the game right now. They've got super minions coming in from top, middle, and bottom. They are going to take it, strike it lucky, and see what they get. Limmy gets taken down. That's the ace, and that is the game. Dragomons take it 2-0 against Meteor Makers. They are one game away from staying into the LCS. We've seen the Giants doing this before, though. Warning signs are there that Meteor Makers can still put up a fight. Dragomons have to take this next game very, very seriously if they're to close out the series 3-0.
Dragon Ball's playing so incredibly well right now. Every single fight is started by them. They do seem to be picking up the victories, and the question is, can they do it a third time? They have 3 more potential games to pick up the win, and we'll see whether or not they can pull it off. MYM, they want to pull an alternate. They want to bounce back and try to secure it.
Yes, of course, you can see Meteor Makers on your screen. They need to focus really and figure out what exactly they can do. We're going to go over to Jason Kaplan and myself, in fact, in a moment to take you through that game.
And Damien, what a game indeed. The throws back and forth. Meteor Makers really trying to give an effort there and showing that they are not a pushover at all. That Baron rush they pulled off, the teleports, not to mention Makate just running around creating plays. Like, the balls in that team was ridiculous. You and Joe cast them back for how many years now, and you guys know that. And Meteor Makers, just like I said, they're putting up a fight. They're trying to make this game happen, and they're trying to get into LCS.
Yeah, and they've proved it. You know, they proved it a number of times there that they could maybe try and take that fight, but there's so many times, so many plays that they created that almost worked and then just backfired. We saw Sharo. They saw them get in there. They got that Baron. It was a fantastic play by him and Makata. Makata kind of working out, but Kubon in that top lane, he's just getting destroyed.
Yeah, getting absolutely dominated. One saving grace is, of course, those bullet times that are coming out of Makler's MF. It is very, very good play. He's positioning them well for the most part. There's been 1 or 2 that have missed. And the thing is, Dragon Balls just keep setting up. They keep taking all that damage. They need to position more accurately and better to avoid that damage if they want to win team fights cleanly.
Yeah, cleanly indeed. I mean, what did you see from it? Because you obviously sitting off at the side here, you can see exactly what the problem is. Do you feel it's the bans? Do you feel they should be going for something else? Or simply the plays are not working for them?
To me, it's a big factor is Cubon. I mean, they need to put him in a 1v2 situation. Like, he cannot hold his lane against Yamato Can, which to me, I mean, that, like you were saying, Quick, that's a big kudos to how well the boot camps worked out, because we have not been impressed with them so far. But it's just, it seems a little bit maybe of coordination or calls, because they would go off multiple fights. Actually, the first 3 or 4 fights, they won out those fights, but then they kept getting caught every once in a while. Dragonborns were able to keep picking up objectives, which they weren't able to, and they were able to capitalize off of that.
Now, talking about that, if they put Cubon into a 1v2 situation, is it going to be much better against Hosan and Mover?
I know, this is the thing,
That's
because that's a really aggressive 2v1 lane. We saw him in game 1, just how crazy they can be.
Yeah, it's just non-stop. It's all in. If we do, think that that's going to be a possibility, all of a sudden you're going to see the support elite coming out most likely again, and putting them in like a kill lane, putting them in a lane where Hosan and Mover are just going to say, well, Yamato Cannon took you out. We want to do the same, because if he can do it, so can we.
See, I think the real big plan that they need to do, if they want Cubon to actually last, you saw him on Kazakhs in the first game, you saw him on Rumble here, he needs to play tank in the top lane. He just needs something that can survive the lane and not feed kills and maybe somewhat contest against the CS power that Yamato Cannon keeps doing.
Maybe he should be the one playing Shen. Makate's Shen, his taunts were perfect. And in this game, he was much more impactful than the very first game, but it's not that dominant Shen performance you used to see.
It's the early ganks that he's not doing. He's being good when he gets there eventually, but the early ganks weren't working out. And he actually went 3-0-4 like early on.
Yeah,
and that
he did well.
Really over the dragon fight, though. That's where they came from. That's where those kills and assists came from. It wasn't a case of a lane presence. He didn't help out his
none at all.
lanes.
Well, none at all.
You say that, though, but at 450, like, he got the first blood. Like, he came in, like, it wasn't more of a, he was creating opportunities for the kills. He was more reacting to the enemy jungler. He was the one, coming in to try to save you with, the ultimates or the taunts. He pulled it off, but I agree. I mean, we're used to him on, like, Udyr. We're used to him on really aggressive junglers, and Shen, it really doesn't seem to fit his alley.
And what do we think of Shushe back on Gragas?
It was okay.
I'm waiting for his skin to come out.
So I think Shushe's Gragas was pretty good. He farmed very well. He wasn't caught out of position. I did feel like his ultimates were fairly lackluster for the most part. We've seen a lot of ultimates going out, and he saved himself with them. He did set up some pretty good plays, but for the most part, it wasn't the explode everybody game. It wasn't about him. In that matchup, it was all about Yamato Cannon and then Hosan putting down the damage in the team fights.
Yeah, it seemed like something we saw back at MLG in terms of KT Rolster B, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think it was Danitas was playing against him, and they're wondering, why does this work with Gragas so well?
He goes down the bottom, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole point was, and you saw a little bit in this composition, was they try to single someone out and then have Yamato Cannon come in and just assassinate him. Like, they tried to do that. It didn't work that well because of, I have to say, the Jace, because the acceleration gate, they were so fast, with Misfortune, they could not catch them. Yeah. They couldn't really set that up, but still, the Gragas, I mean, he didn't really lose his lane. It was still impactful late game. You saw how much damage it did. Just throwing the ultimate made them back away, just like a Karthus ultimate. It worked.
So what are Meteor Makers going to do? They have to, Shaori really has to put the entire team on his back, it seems, and try to carry them to victory. Last 2 games, he's been brilliantly in that mid lane. Is he going to have to pick a champion that can really drag the team screaming and kicking through?
Yes.
The Twisted Fate, maybe, I'm thinking. Something like that, he can maybe just create the plays, like we see Peke doing.
So Twisted Fate has been banned out. His Xerath was good. It was banned out as well. His Jace was really good. And I didn't even expect the assassination damage that was coming out of his Jace. So we'll see what he can pick. Maybe he should be taking the assassin. Maybe taking something like Kha'Zix or...
Well, we see it on Karthus a lot as well.
Could work as well.
Like, and back in Intel Extreme Master Singapore, his, like, main champion was Katarina. Like, yes, he loved playing the assassin reset kind of champion. So maybe Kazakhs, maybe we're definitely right. If he played something like that, he'd be able to create the opportunities. But I think besides that, I think maybe Meteor Makers needs to be more aggressive. Like, there's certain fights that they probably could have won, but they didn't take advantage of. Same in Dragonboard's side. Like, they had a clear advantage, and yet they weren't able to capitalize on the fights, and they would lose a couple members. And Meteor Makers would try capitalizing off of that. So maybe just some aggression, because that's what we know of them. Like, early level 1 aggression, just all out. And they haven't done that in so long. I can't remember the last time they've actually done it.
Well, we will see, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going to Game 3. It's Dragonborns currently 2-0 up over Meteor Makers. We will be back in a few moments for the next match.